If you're looking for a simple and easy to do DTF project for really any holiday focused on America, for me, it's 4th of July in a few days, then this video is for you. And if it's not that time of year, well, you can follow this and have some stuff for then, or you can also use everything that I'm gonna be doing here and apply it to whatever season it is, whether it's fall, winter, spring, summer, whatever. We're gonna go through kind of step by step on how I make a shirt with my Pro colored printer back here. It's the L1800 DTF printer. And we're gonna go from finding the graphic to getting it laid out in ProRip and eventually printing it, getting it with the powder, getting it cured, and getting it pressed on a shirt. I'm gonna show you my start to finish process on this. DTF I've been doing for really several weeks. And I have really honed my process in that time. This doesn't have to be something that you've done for years and years and years before you're ready to do production work or ready to do really anything. I've had my printer about a month, and I've pressed DTF prints for probably 2 or 3 months, and I've been able to get large volume orders from local businesses and friends and family, and through my Etsy store and through my Shopify store. So don't let it intimidate you. You might have had this printer a while, but do not let it intimidate you. It's really simple. We're gonna walk through it step by step today. It's gonna take you from the beginning of the project through the end. The only thing I'm not gonna help you with really is sourcing your shirts. I'll leave some links in the description below for where I get my shirts, depending on how much bulk I'm getting. But there's 2 places, both Ninja Transfers and Jiffy, that you can shop even without a resale license. So if you don't have that tax license yet, then don't worry about it. You can still get really cheap shirts that are high quality from Ninja Transfers or Jiffy without that. And if you do happen to have that resale certificate, there will be plenty of other places linked below as well, like SNS Activewear and Sanmar and places like that. But if you're just getting started out, check out Ninja Transfers, check out Jiffy. I'll have links below. They are affiliate links. So I do get a little bit of kickback if you use those. Same with the Pro colored link. If you want to buy a printer like this, I've got a link in the description that will give you $80 off with my code and kind of help you get started there. But enough of all that. It's time to jump in and actually design this t-shirt. So thank you for watching. My name is Patrick. This is Creative Workshop. Let's make a t-shirt. Okay, so to start with, this is Creative Fabrica. I have an annual subscription here, and if you don't have one yet, then you should. Creative Fabrica is cheap, as you can see up here. It's like $4 a month. You get unlimited commercial license to everything. You can use it for print on demand. There's an insane amount of fonts. And what we're going to be looking at today is some patriotic graphics. Now, I have already found the one that I'm going to use, but essentially you just come up here into the search and look up maybe like USA T-shirt, and now you're gonna see a bunch of stuff come up like this, all kinds of different things. You could also look up 4th of July T-shirt, and you're gonna get a bunch of different things here, all kinds of graphics. And you can also come over here, remove T-shirt from this so it searches bigger, and select T-shirt designs down at the bottom, and now you've got even more to choose from. For me, we're gonna jump over to my favorites, and then from there, select the graphic that we're gonna be using, which is this one right here. And we are going to download it. Once downloaded, we're going to open it up and extract it. Now, this next thing is something that I do. You don't have to, but this is how my workflow goes. So I'll open up Photoshop. I have a print template folder here, or print template file, and I will just we'll grab the color version and drop it in here. This is where I drop it, because then I can come and I can trim away all of the transparent pixels. And I do this because sometimes a graphic directly from Creative Fabrica might have a big box around it, and sizing it just isn't the easiest. This is by no means required. And you could also choose to completely skip this. This is just my workflow and how it works for me. I then will save it, and we can from there move on over into ProRip, which came with your L1800 printer. Okay, so once we are ready to go in ProRip, we are going to click this button up here, add a picture, and we're going to go back to my designs. Here we go. This is the one that we just did. And I'm gonna make this 10.5 inches wide. That's my average size for like a front chest or a back chest is 10.5 inches wide. You could probably go 10 inches, but really not much more. And the reason being, if you go much wider than this, then in the future, when you upgrade to a larger DTF printer, like a 24-inch printer, even though it can print 24 inches with your bleeds and everything, you're really going to print about 22 inches. And if you're printing 22 inches, you don't want a graphic larger than 10.5, because then you can't have two side by side with your bleed room in the middle to be able to cut everything out. This was a tip given to me by a veteran in the DTF industry and something that I'm sticking to personally. So if you want to get the most yield for your buck in the future, then stick to about 10.5. If you stick to 10.5 starting now, your clients are never going to think a thing of it. They're just going to go with it, and they're never going to question it. So that's what I do. It's what I recommend you do, but you do however you want to do. If you want to print this at 12.5 inches wide, you can. But that's what I do. So we have it here sized at 10.5 inches. It'll be 9.5 inches basically tall. And if we look over here, I kind of keep all these settings the same. My RGB channels are set to 1. My W1s and W2s, I really don't have anything for. I do 100% white under any colored pixel. And then it's positioned. You can hit this button up here if you want to position it at the upper left-hand corner. This is really to put tiling, so we will kind of show that. We'll make these like a left chest size real quick. If you wanted to put this in a left chest, you'd make it about 3 inches wide. We could tile it and maybe tile 6 of them. And if we had, you know, all of these moved all over the canvas, then we could hit this button here and it would tile for the most efficient space. Now for tiling, I have it set to put a 1/4 inch in between everything and to allow for rotation. As you can see, it rotated this right here to give me the best yield. Now, since I don't need to do that, I'm going to just do that right there, have it retile, and now we are ready to print. But before we do that, we're gonna jump here. I have it set to automatically mirror. You're gonna wanna make sure that you're mirroring. If you've never done DTF before, make sure that your project is mirrored. I have a 4mm margin from my left side. This keeps the graphic from being like printed right on the edge. You can see here, if we change this to 0, that it moves it towards sitting right on the edge. And personally, I prefer it to be a little bit over 1/8 inch away from the edge. Just gives me more room to move and a little bit more just ease of use there. You could also, you know, come in if you wanted to and set like a 3mm top. I don't do that because my film, you'll see in a moment, it's not going to be starting at the top of the film. So I'm not worried about that at all. And an area, valid area you want to print in, then you go, you know, you can jump into your driver settings. You really don't need to change this. You should be printing at 1440 by 1440 DPI, CMYK, W1, W2. As you can see here, these are my maximum ink settings. Now, I'm not sold on these settings. It's still a little bit of a thick print. I'm going to be working on that in future videos and future testing and everything. But 75% for colors, 85% for white. And I am actually running out of white. I'm waiting for more to come in. But this is where we're looking for this stuff. And so you can hit OK, you know, make your own settings there. And now we are ready to print. So I'm going to get the camera set up at the printer and kind of show you a little bit around there for how I get going and get ready. And then we will get this graphic printed out. Okay, so now once over at your printer, I had this open because I was checking my white. Like I said, it is pretty low. And here you can see my film. But I'm going to use the buttons over here on the side to back it up to where it'll just kind of start a little higher. Helps reduce film waste. And at this point, we are ready to start printing. I've already purged my head. I've already done all my cleanings. That's stuff I'm going to go over in future videos. But for now, we are ready to go and we are ready to start this print. So to get the print started, we just simply hit print. It's going to jump us over to our processing screen. You can see up here that it's ripping. Gives me a preview. And now it's going to be recording, or it's going to be printing, and we'll be done here in the next couple minutes. Now that the graphic is all printed, we are going to extend this and cut it just like that. We have our graphic, which as you can see looks a little bit different. I had an error printing on the first one as I was inspecting it. It happens every now and then, so had to reprint it. And while I reprinted it, I also printed a neck label that you can see up there. That might be a little bit big. I'm doing this on personal shirts first to kind of just try this stuff out, see how it looks, see how readable it is and all of that. But here you can see the graphic, and we'll get everything cut apart here in a moment. But what I typically do is once the print is done and I've got it off the printer, I will let it sit for probably 2 or 3 minutes, just to let the ink begin to cure before I put any of the hot melt powder, which I have in this bucket right here, on it, or before I put it into the curing oven. I just let it kind of cure for a few minutes by itself, and I've found that that helps everything to adhere a little bit better and come out with a little bit better of a print. If you do it immediately, that's just fine too. That does work. That's how I started, and you don't want to wait too long, but maybe waiting a minute or two after it comes out is good. And so at this point, I've talked longer than that, and we will get this over into curing buckets. So I will move the print over, the curing, or the bucket with all the curing powder over here. And this is pretty simple. I just put it in there, scoop up a bunch of powder, and then spread it. So you should have something like this for your setup. You really just want to make sure that there's an even coating of the white powder across everything. It's not difficult to do, but this powder is the glue that will hold your DTF onto the t-shirt. And then once I'm done, I take and kind of just shake off any of the excess. You want to get any extra off because it doesn't need to be anywhere else on the shirt outside of the print. And get this moved out of the way. Then this is what it should look like. You should have little dots all over the back of everything. And then we are ready to put it into the oven. So my oven is set to 135 degrees Celsius for 160 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead, open this up, get the print in here, and I will see you guys in a few minutes. For the oven to finish, I'm gonna go ahead and get my heat press turned on. This is the HTV Ront auto heat press, and I run it at, as you can see here, 325 degrees for 30 seconds. So we're gonna let this heat up while we are finishing up baking the print in the oven. And the oven is done. So we're gonna pull out the print and take a look. And you know it's done when it's kind of got a little bit of a rubber texture on the back. And this is a little bit light on the white, but like I said, I'm running really low on white. I'm pressing this on a very light colored shirt, so I'm not worried about that. But this does look good. It is cured properly, and we are now ready to get things separated. And for that, I prefer to use a rotary roller like this. I'll have one of these linked in the description below, but we'll just go ahead and separate these graphics. And I'll make this a much smaller graphic so it's easier to maneuver when I'm ready to put it on. And now, as soon as the heat press is heated up, we are ready to go press this stuff. Almost heated up, we're gonna go ahead and start to get things positioned. I'm gonna start with doing the main chest. And the way that I do that is I get the shirt laid on the press, just like this. I'm gonna straighten everything out as best I can, so I've got a nice surface to work with. And these Bella canvas shirts are really nice to wear, but a little bit harder to work with just because of how soft they are. But once we are essentially level, and I get that by kind of pulling down on the sides here, try to make sure that I'm about the same on both arms and all of that. From here, I can grab the graphic and get it laid out. Now, I go essentially 2 to 3 fingers below the collar. We're gonna go 3 fingers on this one. And so that's gonna place it here. And then you kind of just wanna center it up. Now, an easy way to center it up is to move the graphic to where it would be about like this. That's, you know, almost exactly center when you look down here like that. And line up the top and put a crease at the top, so that way you know where the center of the graphic is. And again, we're going about 3 fingers down. I've got some alignment guides, but I've just come to know that my fingers are about the width of what we need. So now we are properly positioned. With a wavy graphic like this, you don't have to be perfectly centered, you know, this way. But we are as good as it's gonna get. I will pull the collar off and try to straighten out that bottom again, just to prevent any major wrinkles. And then we're about ready to press. I don't know if you can see up there, but we're at about 320 degrees. Just waiting for it to hit 325, and then we will begin the pressing of the shirt. And we are ready to go. So I will slide the shirt back in there, let it drop, and 30 seconds later, we will be ready to pull it out. The nice thing about this heat press is as soon as the time is done, it will lift the platen, so you're not gonna have any over pressing, and we'll pull this out. This is cold peel film, although it also works as a warm peel. So I'll just give it maybe 5-6 seconds from coming out of the heat press, and then we will peel it off. And just because I want to be completely transparent, and this is a personal shirt, but the corner of this A did come up. I just didn't wait quite long enough after I pressed it to peel that. That is completely on me, and something that you should pay attention to. Like I said, I've had some good experience, some not great experience with peeling it warm, but you know, that's on me. Thankfully, that doesn't completely ruin the look of the shirt. Otherwise, I'd have to remake this shirt. But since I am, again, wearing this personally, I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna grab my PTFE sheet and get this pressed one more time. So if you have the auto heat press, it came with this PTFE or this Teflon sheet. And so if not, then you can buy one separately. But I press one more time with that. It helps to really sink the print into the fibers of the shirt and make it a little bit of a lighter feel overall. And with that, the main graphic is done. Outside of that little issue that I had over there, but the main graphic is done. And now this is totally optional. This is just something that I would like to do. Is I'm gonna go ahead and peel this tearaway tag out of the shirt and insert my tag. So I'm gonna put this in here just like that. And I'm gonna grab a heat press pillow to try to raise that up above the bottom of the shirt to make it where it presses a little bit smoother. So this is a heat press pillow. It's just a Teflon coated pillow, and it's not necessary, but when doing these tags, it can definitely help. And something else that can help is something I should have done to start with, and that is turning the shirt inside out. So by turning the shirt inside out, we can get it pressed right here. If you are starting your own apparel brand, then this will be well worth the extra hassle. It will help your shirts to really stand out and people to recognize them. Like I said, this is the first tag that I've done like this. I don't know if I've said that yet, but this is the first actual custom apparel tag that I've done. There are some regulations, so look it up for where you live to know exactly what you have to include on your tags. But mine is ready to go for the US. So I moved the pillow down so that way I could have the graphic on there and the neck label or the neckband hanging off, and we're gonna press. So then because this one has so much more detail in it, I am gonna let that sit for an extra few seconds compared to the last one, especially since I had a little issue with the last one. That could be because my white is low. The glue adheres to the white a lot better than the other pigments from what I've seen, what I've read, what I've experienced. So since my white's low, that could be a reason why I had that issue, but you guys are kind of learning with me. I have pressed several big orders so far with no issues, but you know, learning as we go. So then let's go ahead and peel that up, and that peeled up beautifully. And then we will take and do that one final press to kind of help that to seat in there. So now my tag is nice and on there. We can remove the heat press pillow and get the shirt turned right side out again. And if your shirt is like mine and all wrinkled and you plan to wear it same day, which you absolutely can, just kind of spread everything out like this. And then I'm gonna throw the Teflon sheet back over it and just press it for, honestly, 5 or 6 seconds. And that should be plenty enough. So with this heat press, you just press it, and then when you're done, hit the button. It'll pull up and make it look a little bit better. But there it is. There is the shirt, and I will go put it on so that way you can see how it looks being worn. And there you have it. I did actually throw the shirt in the dryer for just a few minutes with a damp cloth to get most of the wrinkles out, as you can see. But the placement is perfect. That 3 fingers from the collar worked awesome. I love how it came out, and even though we had that little tear at the side, it still kind of goes with the tattered flag look. So it's not a big deal, at least for a personal shirt. The tag that I did, I'm gonna need to work on that a little bit more, but it was a trial, and that's really what all this is about. Trying things, failing, learning, and trying again. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found something useful from it, from Creative Fabrica to how I put it into ProRip and kind of my workflow for making a shirt. And if you liked the video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up below. Hit that red subscribe button down there. It means a lot to me. And also, if you have any questions or just have a favorite part of the video, leave it down below in the comments. I try to respond to every comment that I can. And thank you so much for watching and for potentially commenting. We'll catch you in the next one.